Hello, I am Calvin Taylor Skinner, and we are grateful for your attention to this series as the Knoxville Water and Energy for All campaign seek to deliver information pertinent ways of giving us a context to why we are making this push for utility reform and also how we are being intentional in empowering our community to take on this cause, to alleviate what so many people are having to deal with in terms of high burdens as it relates to utility and energy and water for our homes. So for our time, we will look at utility hardships and misery. This is the first installment of several videos where you will actually have ways of interacting with us, as we will also host live Q&As and other informational sessions with other members of this campaign. So on behalf of the Knoxville Water and Energy for All, we encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, also on our website, Knoxville Water and Energy for KNoxvilleWEA.org. Again, that's KNoxvilleWEA.org. And so without further ado, we will go to our PowerPoint around utility hardships and misery. Utility burden is the way to describe the share of household income that is spent on utility bills, particularly in our context, KUB bills, which includes electricity, gas, water, and wastewater. The lower a household income is, the higher the utility burden typically is. A high utility burden makes it nearly impossible for a household to pay its KUB bill. Those households that cannot pay their KUB bill face a road of hardship and misery. And it goes without saying, especially as we have been confronted with this global crisis, health crisis with COVID. We have seen firsthand how many households, families have been impacted. And we know that this isn't necessarily even new, as families have faced these utility burdens beforehand. Certainly, this pandemic exacerbated it, and we want to ensure that we are making ways to include long-term remedies that will not just be short-term, but long-term for families. Unaffordable utilities, housing, and food. When utilities, housing, and food are unaffordable, households with high utility burdens face great difficulties in paying for all three. Unaffordable utilities cause heat or heat trade-offs. Over 1/4 of Black households often skip on food, medicine, or other essentials to pay KUB. At the end of 2020, Community Voices conducted an affordable utility survey, and of the 56 Knoxville households surveyed, have had to cut back on food or medicine to pay their KUB bill. The hardships of living without electricity and gas. No light, students can't do their homework. Many have to burn candles for light. Some run extension cords from a neighbor's homes. No heating or cooling, no refrigeration causes food to spoil, and no way to recharge your phone or use a computer. Fire hazards increase when a household is disconnected from KUB. Fire risks increase as households seek other ways to stay warm, such as a portable heater, fireplace. The National Fire Protection Association has identified disconnections of utilities as one of the major factors of increased fire risk for low-income homes. Portable kerosene heaters release poisonous carbon monoxide into the home. The hardships without water and sewage. There is no way to wash and keep clean. Sanitation obviously is an issue. Cannot flush toilets, clean surfaces, threats of not drinking enough water, and cannot cook at home or wash dishes. Health vulnerabilities of living in a home that is too hot or too cold. Those living in a home disconnected from gas and electricity often get sick because they cannot adequately heat their homes. Hypothermia can occur when a home falls below 60 degrees. People can die when their body core temperature falls below 95 degrees. Inhaling cold, dry winter air can trigger asthma. If home temperature falls below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, the risk of other respiratory illnesses increase. Those with lower incomes often find air conditioning unaffordable. Some elderly people on fixed incomes, many of them in buildings without ventilation, cannot afford to use their air conditioner and may die from overheating. And other health problems are worsened by the heat: heart disease, diabetes, stroke, and respiratory diseases. And we know, especially within the Black community, heart disease, diabetes, and such occur in our community at much higher rates. When households cannot afford utilities, they often cut back on heating or cooling their homes to save money. Living in a house that is too cold or too hot increases stress levels. People with persistently high utility burdens live through extended period of chronic stress known to harm long-term health outcomes. Unaffordable KUB bills and disconnections are biologically stressful condition which compromises health and well-being. And many have to miss work because of disconnection emergencies in order to find a way to keep the water and lights on. The whole family may experience the trauma of having to move because of eviction into transitional housing or homelessness. Forced moving occurs when households are required to change residences because a home becomes uninhabitable due to disconnected utilities. A household does not have the money to pay its KUB debt. A household seeks housing with more affordable KUB bills. Many become homeless because of unaffordable utilities. So we see how KUB bills and utility rates, high utility rates, contributes to increased housing insecurity. Nationally, of those who receive federal energy assistance, 14% moved in with friends and relatives due to their inability to pay for utility bills. 6% were evicted from their homes due to unpaid utility bills. 4% face home mortgage foreclosure due to unpaid utility bills. Nationally, 1 of every 10 disconnected households are never reconnected, driving families from their homes. Now we will discuss the disconnections on our children, a very vulnerable population and within themselves. Disconnections and affordable utilities contribute to negative educational outcomes due to the disruptions of changing schools. Of the nation's third graders who have changed schools, 41% are below grade level compared to 26% of third graders who have never changed schools. Children are a greater threat of removal from their family when living with utility and housing insecurity. Persistent housing, utility, and health-related disparities affect low-income Blacks disproportionately. These burdens go beyond economic poverty to become the primary drivers of health inequities, locking in the effects of racial deficits caused by poor health and adverse child childhood experiences. Dignity. Dignity is essential as we think about ways of our well-being and thriving. Households with high utility burdens simply do not have the income to pay their utility bills. The only alternative they have to avoid getting disconnected is public assistance or to seek assistance from churches and charities. One who is a faith leader who is on the ministerial team at Mount Zion. We can certainly attest to ways that people approach us for assistance, and really the high demand and really ways of us trying to as faith leaders and as a faith institution trying to find ways of finding long-term solutions, sustainable solutions, because as I shared before, especially with this COVID outbreak, it has certainly exacerbated the situation. It is degrading for many to have to open their life problems to strangers to prove their worthiness for help in paying a bill. It is degrading to open oneself up to judgment of others in exchange for something as basic as water and energy. To have to go through this cycle of finding some means of paying an affordable bill month to month certainly stressful and can absolutely impact one's way of dignity and really what we understand is a human right. Because internationally, access to water, sanitation, and energy is considered a basic human right, which governments have the responsibility to guarantee. And so in conclusion of this particular subject, again, we encourage you to follow us along on Facebook and Instagram, and also on our website, Knoxville, WEA.org. We will host a live discussion with others who are part of this campaign, ways that we can answer any questions that may have come out of this presentation or other matters that may arise as you come to learn about our campaign or other matters around utilities. So thank you for your attention. Please spread the word. Let all know in the community that we are one who are seeking to inform and advocate for our community around utility reform to help alleviate what we feel is the most basic rights as it relates to access to water and energy. Again, I am Calvin Taylor Skinner, part of the Knoxville Water and Energy for All campaign, and we look forward to interacting with you as we go along.